up guys? So today's video is all about Season 8, Episode 3 of Game of Thrones, The Long Night. What a week it has been! It is unbelievable that we got both the Battle of Winterfell between the living and the dead and the conclusion to Avengers Endgame, the entire MCU, in the same week, okay? It can't be a coincidence that. It was just way too generous. Thank you, movie and TV gods. What have we done to deserve this bounty? Thank you. Yeah, it's been a crazy week for entertainment. Tell you what though guys, if they'd actually put this season's episodes of Game of Thrones in cinemas for people to go and watch, I would happily pay to see these episodes in a cinema on a big screen, because these episodes that we got, in particular The Long Night, they're so cinematic, and like the Long Night itself might be the most cinematic episode of TV ever. It really felt like a movie. It had that glorious opening scene with the tracking shot, which was like 3 minutes long, like disaster movie level styles of weather, characters sacrificing themselves for each other, one-on-one fights of biblical proportions, slow-mo ninja deaths, dragons fighting each other in aerial combat. It had it all. I swear to God, the budget cannot have been that much lower than what it cost to make Avengers Endgame. Was it a phenomenally entertaining episode of TV? Absolutely. Was it perfect? I'm not going to say it was perfect. One thing that I really didn't understand was the logic behind the opening charge in the battle with the Dothraki. Why did they go? Who told them to go? I mean, when you've got two dragons at your disposal who have like the equivalent of a nuclear blast, why would you send people into the dark essentially to fight the dead when it's not even necessary? It's like, why would you risk losing their lives when you don't need to put them at risk? It doesn't make any sense to me. There was no logic to it. I mean, yeah, I get that they were trying to lure the Night King out, you know, so they could take him down, but yeah, this just goes to show that the Dothraki were really just the pawns of the battle, because no one really cared about the Dothraki. There were no Dothraki characters left that we really were connected to at a personal level, so of course they went first. I mean, it was a cool moment. We saw the Dothraki charge into battle with their flaming sword. That was cool. Side note, this is probably the most helpful Melisandre has ever been in an episode. She just lit everything on fire. You go, girl. And I will say, I did think it was a pretty cool visual when you saw the Dothraki up in the distance and all you saw were their like sword lights just being extinguished one by one, and it was just like the Night King was like blowing out candles on a birthday cake. Yeah, they did. But does that mean the Dothraki are all like extinct now? There's like maybe 2 of them came back in the end, and like I didn't see any Dothraki like women or children in the Winterfell crypts. Did you guys? And what the hell happened to Ghost? Is he alive? Is he dead? Because he ran into the charge with the Dothraki, but he didn't come back out like Jorah did, and yeah, to bring Ghost back only to have him die off screen is just gonna piss off a lot of people. I hope he's still alive. Maybe just run off into the woods to help find Nymeria and bring reinforcements. I don't know, but it would be nice to know that Ghost is still alive. I mean, could they not have taken 30 seconds out of the Arya prancing around the library like a cat and shown us confirmation whether Ghost was killed or if he is in fact alive? That too much to ask. Also, did anybody else think that it was just a little bit too quiet with the scenes that took place inside the castle at Winterfell? Like when Arya was running around the library, it was that quiet that drops of blood hitting the floor were enough to give Arya's location out to White Walkers. But there is a war of wars, a war to end all wars going outside the door at Winterfell, and it's that quiet that, you know, you can hear a pin drop inside. Don't know if I bought that. This episode and the episode before have definitely subverted my expectations as to who I thought was going to die in this episode, because we did lose like 7 characters in this episode. Like we lost Beric, we lost Edge, we lost Lyanna Mormont, we lost Jorah, we lost Theon, and we lost Melisandre and the Night King. But it was the characters that I was kind of anticipating to die that all survived miraculously as well. I really thought it was going to be the end for Brienne, Varys, Grey Worm, Tormund, and Pod, but they all made it out alive. They all had such lovely moments of character growth in the last episode that I thought this was how the writers were letting us say goodbye to them, because it really did have some nice moments for them. It's just like, okay, things are going well for this lot. Now you're dead, but they're still alive. But just because so many beloved characters made it through this battle doesn't mean it still didn't sting when we lost others. I mean, Lyanna Mormont. I mean, she wins like the prize for most iconic death of the night. I mean, it was like David and Goliath when she just picked up the axe and just ran at that white giant. I was like, yes, you go, Lyanna! And even though she was like crushed to death, I mean, she managed to take the giant with her. And like, I ruptured with glee when that happened. I was like, yeah! I'm sad she's gone, but I mean, that's a death that, you know, future Westeronian folks will, you know, sing songs about. It's a great death. And we finally got the reunion of Arya and Melisandre, which was teased all the way back when they met in that episode in season 3. And all the stuff about the magic and the prophecy that Melisandre was, you know, hinting at came together in this episode. Like, we finally got a reason as to why Beric had been brought back so many times. It turns out his, you know, purpose was to protect Arya, and then Melisandre gave Arya a little pep talk, and then she said, you're going to close many eyes forever, brown eyes, green eyes, and blue eyes. And that's when it all sort of clicked together that she was going to be the one that was going to kill the Night King. And I was like, what? Definitely did not see it coming that Arya was going to be the one to kill the Night King. I always thought it was going to be Jon or Daenerys, but no, it turned out to be Arya, and I actually thought that Arya was going to be dead. As soon as the Night King turned around and caught her mid-jump, I was just like, oh, no. I mean, my reaction says it all. I just like, oh, no, she's dead. She's going to be dead. He's going to snap her neck, and then she dropped the knife into her other hand, stabs the Night King in the heart, and shatters. Wow. It was a freaking fanboyish bit of payoff, but oh my god, like, we shrieked when it happened. I was like, what? That's some fucking good TV. I couldn't believe it. She looked death in the face, and you know what she said? Not today. But now that she has killed the Night King, I'm convinced that it's not going to be Arya who is going to kill Cersei, because that would just be way too generous to give Arya all the credit, make her kill the Night King and the Mad Queen. Arya would have a very good month if she managed to kill both the personification of evil and death, and of course the Night King. But even though the victory was very sweet, I was still heartbroken by the deaths of Jorah and Theon. Both of them died valiantly to save others, and for Theon, it was the moment where Bran said to him, Theon, you're a good man. It was just the perfect bit of confirmation of Theon's redemption arc. It was so sad to see Theon go. I wept. I think Alfie Allen has been such an underrated gem in this show. A powerful supporting player all the way through, and has had one of the most interesting, you know, character developments throughout Game of Thrones. He has just been a phenomenal player. And then Jorah, God, there couldn't have been a more fitting way to send Jorah out. I mean, it was always going to be protecting Dany somehow, but yeah, in battle, surrounded by the dead, literally fighting till the last moment. It was perfect for Jorah. And seeing Dany so distraught, you know, like, she was ugly crying when Jorah died. Blah, blah, blah. Jorah. Both of them have been characters since the very beginning of the show, and they managed to both exit with nobility. The episode ended on a quiet note when Melisandre just walked out into the battlefield, took off the necklace, turned into like her true self, and died as the sun rose on a new day. And I did like the whole imagery of the sun coming up, a new dawn, a new beginning, you know, a new world really. And yeah, it was nice that she died having fulfilled everything that the Lord of Light told her that she needed to do. She fulfilled the destiny, and even though she wasn't a loved character, because she certainly did make some mistakes, she definitely went out on a good note, I'd say. She's one of the few characters in Game of Thrones to actually die from old age. It doesn't happen very often. I do wonder though, now that the Night King is defeated, does that mean that the winter isn't going to last as long? It'd be funny if we saw in the very next episode, like, bees pollinating on like a bush of roses. Yeah, now we can go back to saying winter is coming. The Long Night delivered a very cinematic battle even though I couldn't tell half the time what was happening, it was so dark in places. Like, what is going on? If I'm being completely honest, I will say this episode didn't hit the levels of devastation that I thought it would. This episode was what we've been building to for the last 8 seasons, and apart from like the Dothraki and the Unsullied, most of the main characters were left unscathed. And this being Game of Thrones, I was expecting to have my heart broken a little bit more than what it was. I'm not saying I was rooting for the Night King, but I will say I was kind of thinking he was going to be the winner of this battle. I thought maybe only a handful of characters were going to survive, get away on a dragon, and then the few remaining episodes would be about the few remaining good guys trying to defeat the baddie, because you want to feel like the stakes are so real. But in the space of one episode, good conquered evil, and there wasn't really much of a price to pay in order for them to conquer the bad guys. Just like the episode Eastwatch, I predicted there to be very few characters left by the end of it, but there was loads of characters left. A couple of beloved secondary characters were killed off, but all the primary characters are still left standing. Now all they gotta do is take down a pregnant lady and a pirate, which in the grand scheme of good versus evil, living versus dead, battle to save the world, it kind of feels like the final battle that they've got to do is, a little bit lackluster in comparison. I'm also gutted that the Night King, this mysterious figure and presence that's been in the series pretty much since it started, never amounted to be more than just a generic maniacal baddie who all he wants to do is kill everybody because he's evil, okay? Like, I'm really disappointed that there wasn't more to him. We never got any explanation as to why he's doing what he's doing, and he's gone now. I thought we might get some sort of clarity in the confrontation between him and Bran, but nope, he just poofed into oblivion, and I don't think we're actually gonna get any more information about him now that he's turned into ice cubes. I'm just disappointed that the overarching big baddie of the entire series of Game of Thrones never got his dues, never got any substance, never got backstory, and there's so many questions left unanswered about him, about his connection to Bran, and yeah, we're never gonna get that, and I'm just gutted. This is how it all gets wrapped up. With a dagger to the heart, poof. It's just very Hollywood. It doesn't have the nuance of George R. R. Martin's writing. The only thing that we really learned about the Night King in this episode was that he was immune to dragonfire. And I will admit, I thought that was a pretty cool moment where he just looked up at Daenerys like after he was caked in dragonfire and just gives that smug grin. That was a good moment. And I guess he did have that moment with Jon Snow where he raised the dead. That was pretty cool. Although I was a little bit upset that we didn't get to see any of the reanimated characters that had fallen, like Lyanna Mormont or Ed, actually have a run-in with someone that they knew and them having to fight each other. That would have been cool, but feels like a missed opportunity. I've watched this episode twice now, and there was something that I caught on the second viewing, which I didn't in the first, and that was that Dany does save Jon. Just shortly after the Night King raises all the dead bodies and they start attacking Jon Snow, she does save him. She sets them all ablaze with Drogon, and she didn't need to do that, because if she's threatened by the thought of Jon Snow having a better claim to the Iron Throne than she does, then she could have let him die when you think about it. But the fact that she saved him is a good indicator of how the relationship is going to evolve in the next few episodes, because she really must love him, and if she is willing to save him, that must mean that her priorities are Jon, then the throne. So my guess is that she is going to have a lot of good favour with the Northern people now that the war is over. They're going to be very grateful that she was there because her dragons did most of the heavy lifting in battle, and she'll probably have a better rapport with everyone in the North now. So my theory is she's going to give the North to Sansa, and Sansa's going to rule in the North. They're going to be like an independent state. And then she and Jon are going to ride south, and they are going to rule in King's Landing if they can defeat Cersei. Dany and Jon are going to have a conversation about the fact that they are related and they're in love, and what they're going to do about who rules on the Iron Throne. And I also think we're going to get the reveal that Dany is preggo with Jon's child. At least the next few episodes. It's coming, guys. And now that the Night King has been vanquished, it's going to be more about the Game of Thrones. The next few episodes are going to be about Dany and Jon making their way south and taking out Cersei. And even though Dany doesn't have her Dothraki or Unsullied army anymore, she still does have 2 dragons and a shitload of ships, and she does still have her connection to Arya and the Second Sons in Marine. Maybe she will contact them and use them as reinforcements. She still has her connection to Yara in the Iron Islands as well, so she does have reinforcements. But Cersei is going to have some tricks up her sleeve. Qyburn did say in the first episode of this season that Cersei did have plans for the Dragon Queen, so let's see how that goes. But she's got the Golden Company, she's got crazy Euron by her side, she's got crossbows to take down the dragons, she's got Bronn to take out her siblings, she's got a metaphorical mountain between her and her enemies, and she's probably got caches of wildfire still in secret places around the Red Keep and whatnot as insurance. It's going to be anything but a conventional happy ending. She is going out with a bang. And of course, with the Hound surviving the battle at Winterfell, Clegane is still very much on the table, and we're gonna see that happen. I know it. Oh my god, I'm just realizing now there's only 3 episodes of Game of Thrones left. Ever. Oh my god, it just makes me sad to think that we're halfway to the finish line now, but I'm so excited to see how they're gonna wrap it up. I mean, this episode, The Long Night, was phenomenal TV. I was thoroughly entertained. It was so gloriously epic. The music was awesome. The special effects were incredible. Dragons fighting dragons. Oh my god. Dramatic crescendo finale with Arya and the Night King. It was top-notch entertainment. I haven't really been scoring these episodes, but some of you have asked what would I score out of 10. If I'm going to give The Long Night a score, I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. It's freaking good TV, guys. But I would love to know from you guys, what did you guys think of The Long Night? Are you happy with the conclusion? Were you shocked by it? Where do you want the series to go now that the Night King has been defeated? Whatever you think, I would love to hear from you guys in that comment section down below. You guys are freaking awesome if you managed to stay all the way to the end of this video. Like, thank you so much for staying. And if you do like my content, you want to help me out, please don't forget to click if you haven't already. And if you want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram, you can find all my links for my social media down in that video description. Thank you guys so much for watching. For more things related to movies, TV, and popcorn culture, I'm Bran Stark, and I've got to go now.